Good evening, welcome to the September 14th Littleton Fire Town Board meeting. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Teresa, if you call the roll.
Councilman Whalen?
Here.
Councilwoman Standard?
Here.
Councilman Romano?
Here.
Councilwoman Wallowitz will be absent tonight. And Supervisor Barrett.
Here, just a couple of quick updates as far as the projects that the county is undertaking. I mentioned recently that they, reminded everybody that the county was scheduled to do a reconstruct and repave of Main Street as well as a traffic light study at the intersection of Bishop Ferry and Grooms. During the summer, those projects were placed in jeopardy that they wouldn't happen this year. Offered, as a member of the Board of Supervisors and the Public Works Committee, offered that the town would loan the money to the county to make sure these two important projects are done in a timely manner in 2020. The county has since decided that those two projects can move forward. They've been working on Main Street, here and there. It seems as though they're there for a couple of days, gone for several, but I did speak with the Department of Public Works head, and they're planning on Main Street being completed. He said 10/1 or soon thereafter. I think weather dependent, of course. Based on where they are now, that might be an aggressive timetable. They have a lot of work to do between now and then. Perhaps they can get it done. We certainly hope they get it done as quickly as possible. As far as the traffic light study for Grooms and Bishop Ferry, that is moving forward, and that project will be ready to bid in 2021 in the spring. So that's the update, a little more detail around the time frame for those two projects. Also want to mention that we have a couple of folks, longtime employees, that will be retiring in the next few weeks. Cheryl Reed will be retiring from the building department, and Patrick Gibbons from the buildings and grounds department. So two longtime valued members of the team. We wish them all the best as they enter retirement and move on to other things. But as far as Cheryl's position, very important in the code enforcement area regarding fire inspections and improving plans based on the important elements that are included in the New York State Code related to fire safety. Her position, obviously very important. We do have an internal candidate who's qualified and somebody that we should consider. But at this point, no decisions have been made. It's an appointment by the board, but would be good to make that appointment next week if all things move in the right direction. Pat's position, important position. I can let Dan talk a little bit about Pat since he's here, but very talented individual. And has done a lot of work in the parks as far as building bridges and other important elements of drainage and access points, right there.
Yes, sir, he sure has. He's got a lot of skills in construction like that, along with operating equipment, everything else that he does. I just like this frame right here around this. Pat built that.
Oh, that's right.
The Elks gave it, and Pat designed this whole frame and built it. It's painted and hung the thing up in here. That's the kind of talent that he has. He just throw something like that to Adam, and he figures out how to get it done. He's out nice. Yeah, about 27 years.
Yeah, so it'll be tough to replace, but we do appreciate his talents, and so again, we wish both individuals nothing but the best in the future. Any other communications or announcements at this time? Okay, very good. So we do have a few resolutions. I'm not going to say anything about Jim Romano tonight. We're going to wait till next week, just in case anybody's wondering. We do have 3 resolutions this evening. Teresa, if you could,
Would you like to read it?
He doesn't want to step on your toes.
A resolution proclaiming September 17th through September 23rd as Constitution Week in the town of Clifton Park, whereas September 17th, 2020 marks the 233rd anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas the United States Constitution was the first document of its kind in the world and has paved the way for millions of people since that have sought democracy and freedom, and whereas the Clifton Park Town Board proudly recognizes that this document has secured the blessings of liberty for many generations of Americans by instilling power in we the people. And whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize this magnificent document that is the supreme law of our nation and the anniversary of its creation. And whereas public law number 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States designating September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board proclaims September 17th through September 23rd, 2020 as Constitution Week in the town of Clifton Park, and encourages all residents to familiarize themselves with this powerful document and reaffirm the ideals of the farmers of the Constitution. A resolution authorizing JK Playgrounds of Bristol, Connecticut to supply and install playground equipment at the George T. Smith Park in the Longfield 2 Park District, whereas the town board as commissioners of the Longfield 2 Park District wish to authorize improvements to the playground equipment at George T. Smith Park on Main Street, and whereas the Department of Buildings and Grounds solicited quotes for replacing the merry-go-round spinner at the park. And whereas JK Playgrounds, 145 Washington Street, Bristol, Connecticut, submitted the lowest responsive quote to supply and install the equipment, an amount not to exceed $6,445, and whereas there are sufficient funds in the park district's assigned fund balance to complete the work as submitted. Now therefore be it resolved that JK Playgrounds is authorized to supply and install a speedy spinner in George T. Smith Park not to exceed $6,445 to be paid with a transfer from assigned fund balance to Longfield 2 equipment. A resolution authorizing the Clifton Park Town Court to submit an application for a Justice Court Assistance Program grant. Whereas the Clifton Park Town Court wishes to acquire cement pillars, window tint chairs, and computer backup batteries. And whereas the Justice Court Assistance Program was established by the legislature to provide a means by which towns and villages may obtain limited state funding to improve operations of the justice courts, and whereas the Honorable James F. Hughes and Honorable Robert A. Ryback wish to apply for a grant for approximately $4,879 grant from Justice Court Assistance Program to purchase the above mentioned equipment to improve security and operations of the town court. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board supports the efforts of the Honorable James F. Hughes and Honorable Robert A. Ryback in applying for a grant totaling approximately $4,879 from the Justice Court Assistance Program. And be it further resolved that the supervisor is authorized to execute all necessary documents in support of such efforts, and be it further resolved that the comptroller is instructed that revenue shall be increased by $4,789 in New York State grant revenue and expenditures increased by $4,789, with the expense of $2,879 for cement pillars and window tinting to be paid from Public Safety Building General Maintenance, and $2,000 for chairs and computer backup batteries to be paid from court office supplies.
Okay, any questions on the resolutions? Teresa, can you read the headings, please?
Resolution number 164 of 2020, a resolution proclaiming September 17th 2020 through September 23rd, 2020 as Constitution Week in the town of Clifton Park.
I move that we approve the resolution with a second by the entire board. Want to thank the Daughters of the American Revolution for the work that they do in the community and for reminding us about this very important anniversary each year.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sandbar?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes.
Resolution number 165 of 2020, resolution authorizing JK Playgrounds of Bristol, Connecticut to supply and install playground equipment at the George T. Smith Park in the Longfield 2 Park District. So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Standard, second by Mr. Whalen. Dan, can you come up here, Dan?
Sure.
Put you on the mic there. Probably can hear you from back there.
Sure.
Yeah, this one. I don't want you to get approached.
No. Longkill 2 Park District, playground there on Main Street in Jonesville. They have a merry-go-round, it's been there probably for 30 years, and kids use it a lot. But it's been wearing out. We made repairs to it over the last couple of years. Can't play parks for it anymore. So Stu was the Park District chair up there. It took about a year or so, researched all these different ones, found what he wanted. Finally, we picked a style, put it out there for prices, and JK says Connecticut, and he lives there sometimes, and sometimes in Waterloo. Jimmy, the person who's name is JK. He's done other work for us before.
Oh, yeah, because he fixed the, I recognize the name because he fixed the playground there in the town.
Yes, sir, exactly. So he does outstanding work, obviously he's very reasonable price. He works all by himself, comes in and works his tail off, gets the job done for us. So we'll be pretty excited, Stu is, to get that replaced in there, because the thing did break and it's gone. We had to take it out, it couldn't be fixed, and it was unsafe, so there's nothing there now. So.
Speedy spinner.
Yep.
I'm getting dizzy just thinking about it.
You know, it's funny because they aren't that speedy anymore. They actually have, they're made to slow down. They have a lot more friction to them. You can't send your buddies flying off. We used to when we were young.
That's the best part.
Yeah,
Drug around it.
it'd be pretty neat.
Did you have a rough childhood? Had a little fun on those merry-go-rounds.
Yes, absolutely.
Any questions of Dan at this point? So, as far as the, just in general, we haven't had any issues at the main playground on the common, once the swings were fixed,
Not
the way
since
to
then.
the standard that they were supposed to.
Right.
So, yeah, no, he did do a good job there.
We got it.
All right, discussion.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes, Dan, before I forget too, Jen Vigiani had sent some pictures of Mohawk Landing that included some nice aspects that I know Buildings and Grounds had a lot to do with, as well as the Wasville Nature Preserve.
Mhm.
Maybe you can get some of those pictures together for the website.
Well, sure.
If you could work with her on that.
Yeah.
And, 'cause I'm sure Pat had a hand with his craftsmanship, yeah.
Yeah.
So, be a nice thing to
Okay.
show off, especially as he exits.
Right. Yeah, no problem. I can do that.
All right, good.
Be glad to.
Resolution number 166 of 2020, a resolution authorizing the Clifton Park Town Court to submit an application for a Justice Court Assistance Program grant. So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Standard, second by Mr. Whalen. Pretty good from the courts this evening, but pretty standard request as far as the grant is concerned. Discussion, questions? Okay, please.
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes, we have a brief agenda this evening. Is there any other business coming before the board this evening? Seeing none, we'll go to public privilege. If you'd like to speak on the town matters, please raise your hand. We'll ask you to come forward. State your name and address for the record, and please keep it to 5 minutes or less. Joe, how you doing tonight?
Very good, thank you.
Very good. Actually, Joe, that'd be fine. Either there or the podium, I guess. I mean, you have the podium in the shot, right?
Yeah, it is.
I don't need a speaker. I'll just stand out there away from everybody.
It's best if you stand with the.
Otherwise, we don't
so
hear
that
you.
it can be recorded. It records better if you stand.
Oh, okay, then I'll do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it certainly does look a little different from usual. And I came a little bit more prepared maybe because I wasn't sure if I was going to have to wear a mask. And you wouldn't understand me if I had.
No,
So I wrote down what I'm going to say. So first I'll give my name and so on. I'm Joe Nile. I live at the Bentley. And I'm here to talk to the board and Mr. Barrett about the issue of Brothers and the Bentley. It's in the news. There's been comments on it. Our residents have sent in, I don't know if you saw them, a stack of letters this high, showing their concerns, and they should be concerned. And so that is why I'm here. I want to take a little broader perspective on this. And it isn't just a simple matter of, just the Bentley and Brothers. It involves the whole town. And I have given you my thoughts on it, and you can follow along. I didn't know that it was going to be so easy to be heard. But first, let me say that the Bentley community is not opposed to a Druthers in Clifton Park. We are concerned, very concerned, about the siting, not only directly adjacent, but literally in our backyard. And I'll be referring to this photograph of our backyard. I just want to make one other little comment before I read on. If you were designing an ideal town from scratch, such as the Village in Florida, and you had constructed a beautiful senior community building, lovely building for seniors 55 and older, and you were the town planner, I don't think you would put a brewery, pub, outdoor music venue with 250 cars right next door. Not if you were designing from scratch. We're not, right? We're not designing from scratch, but we do have a goal or a vision for our town. So let me go on now. First, I want to point out to you the uniqueness of the Bentley. It is the only condominium exclusively for seniors, as far as I know, in Clifton Park. With 168 apartments, it is probably the largest senior condo in the capital region. Although located in the town center, it is on a quiet, dead-end street across from the YMCA, near the library, and within walking distance of all the stores. The vast majority of our condo owners are in their 70s, 80s, I'm 83, and 90s. We sold our homes, in many cases, our largest asset, in order to purchase a Bentley apartment for several $100,000.
so that we could live independently with fewer burdens. And let's be frank, we are a vulnerable demographic. We are familiar with wheelchairs, walkers, canes, and of course, doctors. But the Bentley is a success. It is a very large, lovely building with several hundred residents that support the commercial businesses with their purchases and the town and the county with sales taxes. Most significantly, every year, we pay around $280,000 in combined property taxes. We truly contribute to the supportive mix of commercial and residential and to the financial health of our town and our school district.
Joe,
Mhm.
you'll have less than 1 minute.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
you've got about 26 seconds.
Pardon?
You have about 26 seconds, sorry.
I have 26 seconds.
Thank
Well, if I don't finish, you will have to read it on your own. I don't see a lot of people pressing to be heard, however. So I ask you to consider these factors. The Bentley is not a typical city center apartment building. It attracts a specific narrow market niche, seniors, and that niche is very sensitive to environmental surroundings as evidenced by its success in its present quiet, convenient setting. That success provides a stable flow of significant property taxes to the town and the school district, plus the sales tax benefits. These factors should be seriously considered with citing a Druthers Beer Brewery Pub with outdoor amplified music, bocce courts, and parking for 250 cars, literally in the Bentley's backyard, be a good addition to the Bentley's environment. What effect would it have on the marketability of our condos, on the sustainability of the Bentley success, on the financial benefits we provide to the town, the school district, and merchants? Druthers isn't just another restaurant, and the Bentley is not just another apartment building. So how can they be supportive and beneficial neighbors? Let's look at that crucial element for the Bentley success, the environment. As of today, Druthers' plans for their establishment includes a large garden and a bar, food facility for outdoor dining and drinking. To create the garden setting, trees, bushes, flowers are planted, as well as keeping the tree line along the east side of the 5.1 acres. The north side is the entrance to the pub and parking. The west side borders Maxwell Road and has quite a bit of shrubbery. The south side, the side that directly abuts the Bentley, is the locus of the key environmental element in determining whether Druthers has a severe negative impact on the Bentley, or we can be mutually beneficial neighbors. And that key environmental element is the southern border's green tree line. You have a photo there of the tree line right in our yard. The tree line is about 25 to 30 feet from the Bentley gazebo. It is part of the green landscape that surrounds the Bentley, and it establishes a relaxing atmosphere of privacy. It would form a natural screen between what is planned as a gravel overflow parking lot and our outdoor recreation area, including our gazebo, which is in the photo, and our community garden. It would absorb some of the noise from the traffic, the music, and the activities at Druthers, and form a beautiful leafy frame for their planned garden. The plans presented by Druthers would completely remove this buffering tree line. Its loss would be a severe, perhaps fatal blow to the environment that makes the Bentley a success. These trees must not be cut down. I am bringing all this to your attention because the decisions that will be made about the proposed development is not just a simple matter. All affected parties' interests, including the town's, must be thoughtfully considered, as well as the real possible negative effects on what has been up to now a success. To that point, thank you.
Well, you're right, Joe. I agree with you 110%. Bentley has been a success. I think it was a good move by the town board way back when to, it's been quite a few years on it. That's when we voted on that. But I haven't regretted that vote to allow the Bentley to move forward. I'm glad that you and so many have found that is a very nice place to live. This application is in the hands of the planning board. Now, they've had one meeting in concept. Did you go to that meeting?
Yes, that was on Zoom and
Yeah.
I was a participant.
Okay, so what did you think coming out of that?
Well, what did I think? I think there's going to be additional meetings, of course.
Yeah. I would say so.
I think we only had two people from the Bentley speak. I was one of them.
Mhm.
I presented the concerns of the community and how it is incongruous to cite a outdoor musical venue, parking for 250 cars, a brewery and a pub, odors and noise right next to a senior center. It is unusual. So I did bring that point up, but I did also move to what I'm talking about here. How can we, as benefit one another? How can we be good neighbors? And I think the key for the people living there is the environment. Shopping, YMCA, library, greenery,
New park.
and all of that for seniors is very, very important.
Right.
But if you suddenly, and if you look at this photo, and you look at the gazebo that we built it with our money from the bottle returns and so on. If you look at that, and at the far side, you'll see a couple of little bushes on the right. Those little bushes are about 2 or 3 feet from where our property line ends. And if the present plans are put into effect, all those trees there that provide us with privacy and greenery and a scene that calms our nerves will be gone. Unless the landscape architect and Mr. Martello can see fit to adjust the interior disposition of their restaurant and their parking and their garden. It can be done, but it has to take, like anything else, some thought and probably compromise. But I can see nothing but benefits for both of us insofar as I know the architect and Martel are very interested in creating a very beautiful garden. a lovely setting for outdoor dining and drinking and relaxing. And I know that they are very happy with the tree line on the east side. And there are shrubbery along Maxwell Road. There are a few spaces that could use a little more. But on our end, they have all these, and there's some trees in the middle of the property too, that they are planning on using for their garden to have a canopy. Some of them, not all of them. But when you come to the south end, which is where you're looking, you have those trees there, and if the plans stay as they are now, if they cannot find a way to take a little off of the parking area, that's one of the key things. One of the key things, because they have parking there designed for 250 cars, 120 paved, and then a gravel parking lot for an overflow. Well, that gravel parking lot will be almost if they take down those trees, we will see it, and it will be virtually in our backyard because the lines are there.
All right.
So if they leave the trees, they will have, again, a frame around their garden of a beautiful green frame, and we will have our screening, and I think we could all live well together. But I wanted to talk to you because it isn't just between Brothers and the Bentley. The decision you make here, it isn't up to you alone, but I hope that you have, you are concerned at least as I am. The decision that will be made on this will have an impact on the town because we aren't just an apartment house. We will pass away and those apartments will be vacant. And if the seniors that look at them feel that this is not the kind of environment they want, and you think of your own elderly parents, would you want them living next to a group of brewery with 250 cars and so on? Not normally, right? But brothers, I think we can live together. Or has to be and it's going to affect the whole town because if you can't keep those apartments open, there's a snowball effect. It will start rolling and the tax base will fall, the apartments will be empty, then the monthly maintenance fees will have to go up and it will be less appealing every year. So it's really an important piece of the town center and an important piece that contributes. So that's why I came here, because you are the representatives of the entire town.
Well, thank
And I
you.
wanted to
You're
talk
always
to you about
welcome.
it.
You're always welcome. I appreciate you.
Well, I thank you for letting me have the time.
Oh, sir.
And you're welcome to the photograph and look at those beautiful trees and look at our gazebo. And you know what I'm talking about. We can't lose that. We've got to keep it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ma'am, did you want to speak? Ma'am?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, okay.
She's my moral support.
Okay. Well, you did very well. Okay. Well, we'll close public privilege. And next week, our meeting will be at the senior center. And we'll see you then. Jim, do you want to?
Motion to adjourn.
Second by,
Councilman Whalen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Standard?
Yes.
Councilman Romano?
Yes.
Supervisor Barrett?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.